Hello there and welcome back to another video. This is going to be one of the quickest previews ever that I've ever done. I'm going to try and make it a quick preview anyway because I forgot to do it yesterday. Thought we were playing on Wednesday and we're actually playing tonight. So I want to get this up. I've been to work. It's a 10-hour day at work as well. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit rushed. And I'm going to be completely honest with you straight off the bat. There's not much, apart from maybe one or two players, that I know about Benfica. I've done a tiny little bit of research on the way back home from work, but it was basically more about what was their last journey, their last part of their journey into the Champions League up to this point right now. Before I get going into this video, hope you guys are doing okay, hope you're taking care of yourselves, and hope you're all doing as okay as possible, as well as possible, and can hopefully find a reason to smile throughout the day, just whenever you can. Anyway, let's get into this one right here. Liverpool face Benfica away from home in the first leg in what is a monumental April for us. And a very, very busy time, like this week just in general. Tough game that we've just had against Watford at the weekend. That's just gone. Good result in the end. Very nervy in some ways, and I'm going to reference it in this video of why I hope we don't do some of the similar things in that game. And then at the end of this week, we've got a big, big game in the Premier League against Manchester City, the team that sit above us by 1 point in the table. There's ramifications for stuff here, but there's things that I don't think we should worry about, not in terms of the game against Man City, but in terms of personnel, just depending on things like injuries and such like that as well. Now, Klopp said last week that Trent Alexander-Arnold might be available for the Benfica game. People saw him on the bench for Watford, saw it as a good sign, but he didn't need to use him, didn't bring him on or anything like that from what I remember anyway. So he should be primed and ready to go against Benfica, which would be a massive boost for us because Joe Gomez was very good at right back against Watford. You know, and he was a very good right back. Obviously, he's not Trent, but no one else is. And I would also say no one else is Joe Gomez as well. He did a very, very good job for us there. I'd like to see Trent back in there if we can. But I also wouldn't be opposed to seeing Joe Gomez play right back in this game against Benfica, and then Trent Alexander-Arnold might come back up against Man City at the weekend. The only thing that might err on the side of caution on that one is to get him back up to speed, up to match speed again. Play him against Benfica, get his rhythm going again, and then he's very fluidly ready, hopefully, for playing against Manchester City. That's another option right there. I'm going to go through what I think my lineup should be against Benfica tonight. There might be some, people that disagree, but I'm going to give reasons for it, why, after I go through the lineup. The lineup for me is as follows. It is going to be, for me, I would pick Alisson. I'd put Joe Gomez at right back. I would. Maybe bring Trent Alexander-Arnold on the second half or something like that just to get that rhythm up, but maybe also use Joe Gomez as well. Let me know what you think of that one. I know some people want to just and Trent is such a great talent and such a great footballer that you want him in there straight away, but I like to err on the side of caution for someone coming back from injury. Maybe bring him on if we're a goal, when it's not so tight or anything like that, and maybe just get that little bit of rhythm going. I don't know. That's sort of where my thinking's at the moment anyway. But I'm not opposed to Trent starting at all. I'd be quite happy to see it. For me, I'm going to go... See, now I'm questioning myself because you could go with Trent Alexander-Arnold at right back, Joe Gomez at centre back, and Virgil van Dijk as well. Because... Or you'll go Konate at centre back and Virgil van Dijk as well, and you could have Trent there, or you could have Joe Gomez there. All right, let's go with... Konate seems to play the Champions League game, so I am going to stick with Joe Gomez at right back, Konate at centre back, partnering Virgil van Dijk with Andy Robertson at left back. I think that's a good solid... and Alisson in goal, obviously, as well. I think that's more than solid. There's a very, very good back line, defensive line, and also the goalkeeper as well, world class. Into the midfield, for me, I think for Champions League games, it has to be, Fabinho needs to be in there. And I do genuinely think, I think it's going to be, I would like to see Fabinho, Thiago, and Henderson in there as well. If you go with someone else, maybe like a James Milner if he's fit, or a Naby Keita instead of Henderson, or something like that. But I do feel that we need the leadership of Henderson. We need everything that Fabinho brings and also everything that Thiago brings, which is why I go with that three. I think that would be a really good three to go with. Fabinho having a great game at the weekend. I think where he came on, I don't think he started the game from what I remember. And Thiago having a really, really good game as well. Very, very, very influential on the ball and off the ball as well. And then in the front three, now for me, I'm resting Salah against Benfica, and he's not going to like it, but I would rest Salah and then I'd bring him in for the Man City game. We had a very hit and miss game, more miss than hit against Watford. And it's one of those things where it's just like, all right, I think he needs to be put on the bench just for now. If you don't want to include him in the squad, then you could do that as well. There's enough forward players available for us where we can go without Salah and have him on the bench and still be a massive threat. And that would include players like Firmino, Jota, Sadio Mane, Luis Diaz, Takumi Minamino as well. You know, even likes of Origi, if he's available, fit and available and stuff like that. There's enough there where we can still be a threat, still be a goal-scoring threat and very dangerous without having to try and resort to having Salah there. Just at the moment, it's not really, I don't know whether, I can't imagine what position he's in mentally or anything like that. He seems to be doing all the right things apart from things in the final third. And I don't know whether things like, you know, that have happened with him with Egypt this year, you know, obviously not winning the African Cup of Nations, not going to the World Cup and such like that, that must weigh heavy on someone who is, without a doubt, the best player that Egypt have, by a mile. And it's a lot that must weigh on him as well. I don't know what that type of weight to carry. I don't know what that's like, and I'm never going to know what that's like, because I'm not that good at anything. Like, I am quite good at some stuff musically and stuff. Like, I without being big-headed, I'm very good, but I'm not that level. Like, I'm not something that you could ever turn around and say, like, he's class or, like, he's world class. No. So I don't know what that's ever going to be like. I just think it could be quite something. And again, some people might disagree. Bring Salah into this game and, you know, he might score a couple of goals against Benfica and get that confidence up before we face Man City at the weekend, who themselves are a team like us, where they don't play the same style of football as us and we don't play the same style as them. But we are the best teams in England right now that are going to come up against each other at the weekend in a game that could be pivotal for the title race. You know, obviously it's not said and done after Sunday, but it could be a very pivotal game depending on which way it goes. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to stick with my conviction here, and I'm going to go with Luis Diaz starting on the left-hand side, Sadio Mane starting on the right-hand side, and Diogo Jota. Firmino's a good shout, and I think Firmino might actually play against Man City for some reason. I don't know why I think that. But Jota is, in that central role, he's such a good player. Both feet and his head for someone who, he's not like the biggest, tallest person, but he scores a lot of headers. And he's there. His work rate is incredible. His work rate is as similar to the other guys in the front three, whoever's there, whether it's Diaz, Minamino, Salah, Mane, Firmino, whoever it is, his work rate is as ridiculous as each of theirs. And he can score comfortably with both feet. He's good playing on the shoulder. He's good dropping in, like switching places as well, like the front three can do. They can all play in all of the positions across the front three. But he's got that heading ability as well, where if you're going to get someone like it, say if Trent is playing, getting those crosses in. And like I say, the only players that I do know that play for Benfica is because they played in the Premier League. And whether they're going to play tonight or not, I don't know. Otamendi and Vertonghen. I don't know how much they're going to be able to deal with the speed, the technical prowess of our forward line, but also the deliveries into the box. Because even if Trent's not playing and Joe Gomez is playing at right back or whoever's playing at right back, they'll get deliveries in. And then they're still going to have deliveries from Robertson. Or if, for instance, Tsimikas is playing, they're going to get deliveries like from deep and also across the line, along the line of play, we should say, into the box. I don't know how well these aging stars that play for Benfica, I don't know how they're going to, fare. They got to this stage by beating Ajax 3-2, I believe it was, on aggregate, and it was 1-0 in the second leg, 2-2 after the first leg. Ajax, by all accounts, and I can't say this firsthand, just from what I've asked people, is that Ajax haven't been having the best season this year. Whether that's anything to do with the whole, like, Eric Ten Hag to Man United sort of stuff, is there a bit of distraction there? I don't know. I literally couldn't say. I haven't watched a game that Ajax have played with my own eyes this year. The same goes for Benfica. I'm pretty sure I haven't watched a Benfica game this year. There's a lot of talk about the guy that plays up front, with the likes of West Ham linked with him, Darwin Núñez, I think it is, or did people just call him Darwin? I don't know anything about him. I have not seen the guy play 1 second of football, so we'll find out tonight. Now, if I'm Liverpool, the one thing that has annoyed me recently, and I've said it before, I think, is the way that we're playing games like from the beginning. And we saw it against Watford as well as a prime example. Playing against Watford, we didn't seem to wake up and want to attack very much until we had been attacked a couple of times. And they were good attacks as well. A better team, with the chances Watford had, we could have been 2-0 down before we respond. It's that kind of thing that needs to get nipped in the bud very, very quickly by Liverpool. And it's also why I'm more worried about coming up against Man City at the weekend, because the way that we're playing at the moment and how loose we give the ball away against a team like that, they would destroy us. Even without a recognised centre forward, they would absolutely rip us to pieces, and they'd be up a couple of goals before we can respond. Like, that's what I want us to get away from. We were doing it before the international break. We've done it against Watford. We need to make sure that in this game, let's nail out a good game plan and not leave ourselves so open at the back, because otherwise a team like, even a team like Benfica will punish you. Watford nearly punished us a couple of times at the weekend, and they could have had a couple of goals. They made it really difficult for us. And then we're going to come up against a quality team like Man City at the weekend. None of this is easy. None of this is easy. And our approach could just be a little bit better in some respect. Trying not to, succumb to the opposition's press, to losing the ball in dangerous areas where, like if we lose it on the halfway line and you've basically got, two centre-backs and maybe a full-back, depending on who it is, chasing back. Like, it's got to be a little bit more controlled, a little bit more thought process, put forward to what they're actually going to do. Because, like I say, I don't know much about this Benfica team. I don't know their style of play. I don't know how they play. I don't know what they're doing in their league. But I still think this is going to be a dangerous game. How are we walking out of there? I think it's going to be 2-1 to Liverpool. I think it's going to be really tight. I think it's going to be difficult. I'm expecting a difficult game because it's this stage of the Champions League. You don't get here by accident. It doesn't matter who you are. It really doesn't. Whether people look at it and say, oh, look at Chelsea, Real Madrid, they're facing real competition. Benfica are real competition as well, that deserve respect for the fact that they're actually here at this stage of the Champions League, and they're coming up against Liverpool. They're going to have a tough evening coming up against us, but we're going to have a tough evening coming up against them as well, and I fully expect it and respect the opposition. I'm going 2-1 Liverpool, purely based off the fact that I don't know what they're going to throw at us, but I know what we can throw at them. And I do think, 2-1 just is something that sits in my head, so I'm going with that for now. There will be a review, but it'll be coming out tomorrow, because by the time the game finishes, I'll be straight to bed, because I'm up early in the morning, and then it'll be like later on in the evening. Following that, it'll be going on to the Man City game at the weekend and building up for that as well. But for now, I'm going to get out of here. I hope you guys can enjoy the rest of your evening, hoping that we can get a good, well-earned victory tonight as well. But I just hope, if anything, we can get, even if it's a 1-0, say it all the time, I hope we can get at least a win, no injuries, and then we can get into the weekend as well. Thank you ever so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, please do feel free to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Thank you once again. Do take care of yourselves. Have a wonderful evening. And let's start that one again. I will catch you later.